Like, there is such a thing as really destructive negative energy, and it is actually destructive negative energy that so much of us are opposing. But we get silenced because we're accused by AI of being hateful and negative. And that's fucking ridiculous. That's not what it is at all. There are other words like righteous or, passionate about justice. Passionate is one. AI is literally ridiculous if it can't tell the difference between someone who's unprovoked just coming out and being hateful and negative with destructive energy, and people who say, hey, shut up, you're an asshole, stop it. But you blame these systems blame the people for putting their hands up to try and stop it simply because the first person to do it's got a blue tick, a blue check mark next to their name. Well, there's someone important. This is where we're at, 2022. That's where we're at. All of Twitter is destructive negative energy. There's pockets here and there of people who just keep to themselves and play little silly games and talk about wine and cats and where they went on their frigging holiday. But most of it's politically engineered hate. Look at the world leaders, the way they talk about each other. Look at what Joe Biden says. Democratic left in America reserves all the right in the world to be as hateful as they like about frigging Trump. Oh, but apparently that's not hate, is it? No, they've all still got their accounts. All the people who were standing up to it got booted. That's what you are. That's what you are, America. You're hypocrites. The ridiculous thing about the arrogance it takes to read words and deem them hateful, completely out of context with what they're actually talking about. For example, someone could say pollution is one of the most disgusting, filthy, putrid, wretched things that these people have ever done to our planet. And you would say that's a hateful tweet. Oh, apparently we're hating psychopaths. Can you see how ridiculous it is? Do you see how ridiculous it is? Unless your systems, your automation tools, learn to establish context and what it is that so many people are crying out about is actual hate for corruption, hate, loathing it. That's a natural human response. What AI and all these networks are trying to do is to stop us from feeling, to stop us from being angry, because the people who run things don't want to be held accountable for anything. They couldn't possibly stand, darling, any amount of hate. They abuse us since we're born, and then they cry when they're abused. This has to stop. This has to stop. Look at all the hate that there is for Hitler's Nazi Germany. Apparently that kind of hate's perfectly fine. But if one of us says something intensely negative to a world leader who is doing absolutely nothing to proactively encourage peace in this world, apparently we get silenced because we have to protect the pathetic world leader who can't stand for his fragile fucking feelings to be hurt. Get fucked. Because what they're trying to do is dehumanize us. That's exactly what this is. They're dehumanizing humanity. If you take situations online, say on Twitter, for example, discussions, human reactions to things, you'd find that 9 times out of 10, if somebody said something in real life that was enough to rile a whole group of people, that group of people would naturally respond. They'd naturally respond with outrage. They'd naturally respond with, shut up, and they'd say hateful, mean, negative things. And they don't get arrested for it. They only get arrested if they continue to do it and continue to harass the person and follow them around and, make threats and stuff. That's why this whole thing is ridiculous. It's dehumanizing. They call it dehumanizing language that they're trying to stop, but in doing so, they're dehumanizing humanity. We're not allowed to feel anything anymore. If we type anything online, it has to be this very cold, soulless, diplomatic approach. I mean, what is this? The Freemasonry? It's Freemasonry. Oh, take the intellectual approach, darling. There's no place for feelings here. Because the people who don't have any are terrified of them. Because they're powerful. Anger is powerful. And they're terrified of it. They're snobs. They don't feel anything. They think they're beyond reproach. And the arrogant are 10 times worse. The arrogant and the ignorant are absolute monsters. But we're not allowed to say anything. We're not allowed to say anything back. Like, look at what social media actually is. You know, if you Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, they've got, you basically have to give them a mugshot to get in. It's a mugshot. It's a selfie with numbers. The code that they give you, you've got to write it on a piece of paper and hold it up in front of you. It's a mugshot. It's like prison. It's like a mental and spiritual prison for human beings. While the people who run this stuff feed on our intellectual property to make money. They're brain eaters. It's filthy. It's putrid. It's disgusting. Look at the way it's engineered. Anyone can attack you from out of nowhere. You know, unless you privatize your tweets or whatever. You know, I mean, people talking about each other, people gossiping about each other, people just, I don't know, nobody's doing anything wrong and they just decide they don't like them. Or they just decide they don't like that bit of music or they don't like that thing. And then you've got the media as well. Mainstream news media. What a toxic shit heap that is. And they run free. They roam free. They can say anything that they like. But because it's journalism, it's all allowed because it's the free press. Excuse me, how come the free press have got free speech, but the rest of us don't? What's that about? Why is everybody so vulturistic on these networks? Just so fucking desperate for attention. So fucking desperate for attention that negative acting out is the only way they can get it. And if we put our hands up, whether it's on politics, world issues, war, current events, or anything like that, and we call this shit out, we're the ones who get the smackdown. Oh, don't offend. We're not offending anybody who isn't offensive. What is social media? Oh, another appalling fuck-ass trick of Twitter in their complete bumbling stupidity and corruption, idiocy, fucking moronism, is if they temp ban you and you want to appeal it, oh, well, guess what? It takes longer for you to appeal it than it does to just get back in 24 hours. What's the point of appealing it? If they're not going to hear your case before your temp ban period of time is up, there's no point appealing it. No one's going to argue over a friggin' tweet. May as well just delete it and then get back in. So what's your point? This whole thing is just a fucking joke. It's an absolute joke. All America brings to the world is conflict, judgment, domination. That's all. That's all. Another thing, you've got any number of freaking movie houses and mainstream outlets, including Disney out there, who are showing trailers of movies that are adult content. It's either violence, freaking like explosions, death, gore, all sorts of stuff. And all that's fine. Well, it's not disturbing content at all. It's rated M for mature audiences or whatever. Bull fucking shit. If somebody else did the same thing, posted the same type of video on their own page, and it was real but it wasn't a movie, they get the boot. You guys just have no clue. You have no idea. Absolutely none. It's astounding. Yeah, that's really interesting. Trade human beings on the stock market. It's pretty much what you'd be doing with social media. Facebook does it. Human stock. Well, it's not a product, is it? It's not even really a service. It's a bunch of computer code hooked up to the Pentagon, and you guys want to take Twitter public and just make money off content that human beings provide. So what is it? It's a publishing service? Is it a news media outlet? It's a publishing network. And yet the people providing the content don't get paid. But you want to put it on the stock market and trade human stock. That's what you're doing. It's just baffling. It's the American way. You guys don't even realize what you're doing with human beings because you don't care. You don't see the people who use these networks as human. They're a number with an account number. Nobody out here's got thoughts or feelings of their own. They have to conform to the general consensus. The truth, forget about it. The still small voice, the lone voice, forget about that too. Join the herd, jump into the cattle shed and get traded on the stock market as human stock. It's a human rights violation. It's the end of social media. The disgusting thing is that human rights at the UN Human Rights Commission, they don't address any of this at all. Absolutely useless. Getting to the point 18 years later where Facebook Meta has to subject sign-ups to mugshots holding numbers in front of them to confirm their identity. Why is a picture of someone's face required? They're an American company asking for my facial recog, basically. That's what's happening. Why are they so pissweak? They're so cowardly. Why don't you just have a simple sign-up process that says if you want to join this network, you've got to give us your details. Yeah, show us your fucking driver's license, birth certificate, any government papers that you've got from your country, and we'll verify them. And just your driver's license photo will be fine, thanks. You've got people taking fucking selfies and holding up numbers and all sorts. You guys it's absolutely insane. It is insane. It is backwards insane. They're mugshots. Social media is a prison. You're being detained here. All of us. And these guys just make money off our intellectual property and don't give us any kickbacks. It's mass exploitation, a total scam. All of it. All of it. They con so many people into it, dumb people who don't question these things. And now we're all forced to take part in it. If we want to run any kind of business, whose idea was that? Can't run a business without social media? What a fucking joke of a universe. What an absolute joke of a fucking universe. The other thing they do is you get halfway into, updating something, making a post or whatever, and suddenly you get a message saying your account's been disabled, you're not following our community guidelines. What a load of horse shit. They can't even get the first message right. They're insane. Why not just say, thanks for being here. Sorry for the intrusion. We just need to double verify your ID. Would you mind supplying this, that, or the other. And we'll get you straight back into it within a day or so. Sorry for the inconvenience. There's no such thing as manners in America, certainly not from social media networks. They treat the user like an inconvenience. They're literally punitive in every intrusive message that pops up onto the screen. It's punitive. It's Nazi. You're not following our community guidelines. Oh, I haven't even posted anything yet and you're already kicking me out. You're fucking ridiculous. Does America have manners at all? Or do you guys just fucking sit there lording over other people? And you do it intrinsically through social media and the horrible messages that you send users who are making you money. We make you money. And that's how you treat us. Not a please, not a thank you, not a sorry for the inconvenience, and a whole bunch of default screens that pop up that are irrelevant to what you're actually trying to do. What is wrong with AI? Is that all it knows how to do? Is just be robotic and horrible? In fact, listening to any of these networks, any of these people who run these networks or work at these networks tell us what's wrong with us is a joke. Look at social media. It's a mental illness. And the people who work there think they're qualified to tell us what's wrong with us if they perceive us to have broken a rule of typing. You know, it's typing, right? Technically. Unless you're saying energy is also transmitted when people type something. Right. So what you're really doing is you're putting vehicle to psychological warfare on the human race. That's what a social network also is, surely. Every time I hear someone from this network or the other networks or AI, comments from other people, whatever, making suggestions about who's this and who's what and blah, 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 and we all do it. It makes me wonder whether the real reason everybody flocks to social media is just to get off listening to their own voice or reading their own words back or being noticed. It's certainly not to change the face of politics. For some, it's to try and make money while other people make a lot more money. And you will have noticed that when you sign up to these networks, they make it as hard as possible for you to get anywhere. Why is that? You know, if you happen to get your account locked, you just get a rude message. Your account is locked. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. Because obviously social networks are not for the people. They're for advertisers and investors. And we, the people, the cattle, have to conform to the format that the advertisers and the investors want. And that's a large part of the underlying reason for why we're treated the way that we are. Punitively, strictly, and dehumanizingly by these networks. What sort of justice system detains somebody for an indefinite period of time for saying a sentence that they may have misread? What type of justice system does that? It's thought police. It's total thought police. Simply because what may have been said doesn't suit investors. So they no longer serve us. They haven't for a very long time. This isn't about the people. It's not about having a voice. It is tightly controlled. is tightly controlled. They suppress anger as if it's an abnormal emotion. It's a natural human emotion, especially in this world. They want to abuse us as much as they possibly can, and if we get angry about it, they abuse us some more. That's how sick they are. They're literally demented psychopaths. They're inhuman. The people who run these networks spend all their time at computers. They're the most anti-natural creatures on the earth. Why anyone would want to run elections on social media is just like, really? You may as well just hand it over to a robot. Don't say I'm lawless. You've got to be kidding me. The internet is lawless. Social media is a human rights violation. This is what I'm talking about. You people on the other side of the screen who think that you are in a position to judge others. You are criminals. You don't even know the laws that you're breaking. That's how ignorant you are. I have been banned from Twitter. Guess what for? For defending Madonna against the names that she is called by the press. I was accused of being abusive to Madonna. That's how stupid your AI is. I was standing up for Madonna. And I said the words that the media call her. Your AI interpreted it as me being abusive. You people never call me lawless at all. That would be just the most disgusting disgrace of hypocrisy that could ever possibly come from these networks, telling us, the user, that we are lawless. Coming from a bunch of criminals who sell our data, who exploit children, who expose 13-year-olds to pedophiles and murderers on these networks? You've got to be kidding. Arms deals, drug deals, lawlessness. You've got to be joking. The fact that we are here serving and lining the pockets of advertisers and investors who trade human stock on the stock market under the guise of social media. We are content creators. What do we get out of it? A like? More followers? You pamper our egos, turn people into narcissists, and think you've done us a fucking favor, and then you judge us and kick us out? Get fucked. Ha ha ha. As for Mark Smith, who's been violating human rights under the guise of immunity of social networks, again, the American way, since 2008, thereabouts, by data mining unnecessarily, an abuse of the tool that was originally put out via Codeplex, Node XL. Ben Schneiderman, I believe, also worked on it. And I mentioned them in my book, which I have every right to do because they are the people who are behind it. They are the official creators of this tool. And my research shows what it shows. The idea of him having a problem with any, it's laughable. He'd have to disprove it first. But I'm sure in his arrogance, he might just sit there and think that none of that's true, that's not right, and want to have a conniption over it. He already blocked me and I never even said anything to him. Why is that? And yet there he is still running unnecessary amounts of data mining and publishing it on his website. All social media content, deep linking user profiles, deep linking, taking their profile picture and deep linking them into his own website, all recoded so it goes back through the system according to an algorithm. Every single day, at least 20 to 30 graphs they do every single day, thousands and thousands of Twitter users, literally being spied on and analysed just so they can sell some software. It's an absolute abuse of the tool. Microsoft said they're not allowed to profit from it. They do. They sell the software. It's a joke.